Welcome back to another live show here on Next Chapter Forward. I'm your point guard, Stephen Bardo. Glad to be joining you guys this afternoon. Hope everything's well. If this is your first time, I'm point guard Stephen Bardo, former professional basketball player, played with Dallas, Detroit, and San Antonio in the NBA. I also played in Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Venezuela, and Japan overseas. So I've got extensive experience living abroad, and that's what Next Chapter Forward is really about. It's about helping Black men over 50 relocate to the country of their dreams or their desires. Okay. So in today's live, we're going to go over the truth about leaving, safety, money, and brotherhood abroad. Okay. I think this is an important discussion because there's a lot of brainwashing. There's a lot of lies associated around uprooting yourself from the United States and seeking greener pastures elsewhere. So we want to discuss some of that. I want to definitely take your questions, but I'll run through these three categories with my notes, and then I'll come back and answer any of the questions that you have. And I hope that we have a really good conversation because you guys have been great on these lives the last few weeks. We've had really good interaction, and I appreciate you taking the time to join me here on Next Chapter Forward. So one of the things that got me thinking about this topic was that, I'll go back to one of the last times I was in Chicago, and I was at my favorite restaurant, Ja Grill, Jamaican restaurant. It's in the Hyde Park neighborhood in Chicago. It's like I'm Norm's at Cheers. It's kind of like that. I'm in there once or twice a week. I know all the staff. They know exactly what I like to drink. They know exactly what I like to eat. And it's like a clubhouse for Black people. And on the South Side, it's not, obviously it doesn't serve just Black people, but it's got a feel that makes you want to go back and enjoy yourself. Okay. So I'm there. One of the brothers comes up to me, and his name escapes me right now. I believe it's Larry, but I'm not sure. So Larry, being a Chicago native, he said, "Hey man, I heard you moved down to Mexico. Is that dangerous?" And I said, "Brother, we're on the South Side of Chicago. What the hell are you talking about?" Right? So, it's the whole brainwashing thing, right? So with Larry, it was more of a reflex. I don't even think he thought about what he was saying. He just had in his mind that Mexico is dangerous, right? So if we're going to take a look, guys, let's talk about safety first. Okay. If we're going to take a look at safety, I probably should have wrote this out, but I'll verbalize it. The homicide rate in Chicago runs around 18 to 20 per 100,000 people. In Baltimore, it's over 50. In St. Louis, it's over 60. Now, Playa del Carmen is a much smaller area than Chicago. It's a little bit more comparable to maybe St. Louis and Baltimore. It's probably comparable in size. Around where I live, 8 per 100,000 is the homicide rate. And in the tourist zones, it's even lower than that. So let's compare. Let's not say Chicago. Let's say St. Louis and Baltimore, right? And the thing, guys, that happens inside the United States, in my opinion, the beautiful thing that the government does in terms of, for their part, in terms of brainwashing us, a great example of what happened when this cartel leader was unalived. The news that you all got, you heard of one state, Jalisco, where a lot of the activity took place. Mexico is about 40% of the size of the United States and it's got half the population. So Mexico's got about 34 states and 140 million people. So the state of Jalisco compared to the state of Quintana Roo, where I live, is about 1,400 or 1,500 miles, guys. It's like being in San Francisco and something jumps off in San Francisco and everybody around the world saying, well, dang, man, the United States is so dangerous because, it's just on fire everywhere. I mean, I saw so many content creators lying through their teeth about what was happening here in Mexico. I'm on the ground. I'm seeing it. I'm talking to people. I'm reading the local news. I'm watching some of the local news that I can understand because obviously it's all in Spanish. I can pick up a little bit of it. And the propaganda that was placed upon Mexico in this latest situation was so eye-opening for me. And it's really something that I'm going to start to hit home because, brothers, we have to really start to challenge the way that we think. We have to challenge the way that we eat. We have to challenge the way that we live. Because if you're gonna eat like a European, if you're gonna move like a European, you're gonna think like a European. And you need to get, in my opinion, if you want to have success in relocating, you need to get out of that mindset. You need to get out of that imperialist mindset that we all have, right? All of us have it to a certain degree. There's a spectrum, but all of us have it. And so this experience was something, guys. And let me read something to you. Now, I'm not saying Mexico is perfect. No. Are there dangerous areas in Mexico? Absolutely. Like I just shared with you, Jalisco, where the cartel member was unalived. Cartel head was unalived. Just like there are dangerous areas in Detroit, just like there are dangerous areas in Philadelphia. You don't write off the whole country because the parts you've never lived in anyway. 95% of Americans don't know about Mexico other than what they see on Narcos, on Netflix, on TV, and online. Most Americans don't know crap about Mexico, but yet are the first people to call it a dangerous place. Okay? So the thing, again, guys, we have to start thinking like sovereign Black men. And in order to do that, you're going to have to really turn your back to a lot of things that people take for granted in the United States, that people hold dear, but they haven't questioned those beliefs or those thoughts. I'm going to encourage you, as being a sovereign Black man or coming into that space of being a sovereign Black man, to understand that this is imperative, right? This type of thinking is very detrimental to us. It doesn't benefit us at all. Okay. So you guys, you owe it to yourselves to look at the actual data. I just gave you a small example. Okay. St. Louis, 50 per 100,000 homicide rate. No, that's Baltimore, 50 per 100,000 residents homicide rate. St. Louis is 60. Playa del Carmen is 8. Okay. So take all the cartel stuff that you've heard, take all that into consideration, and go look at the raw data so that you can make a more informed decision and you can become this sovereign Black man that we're all trying to become. Okay. All right. Number 2 is money. And this is a big thing, guys. This is, I would say, about 35% of the gentlemen that I speak with on my live calls, and the discussions that we have, about 35% of the men are either concerned, do they have enough money? They're concerned about the money requirements for which country they're looking to relocate to, all these different things. And so how much money do you actually need? Okay. So a lot of guys, remember, guys, we're talking about this, this automatic thinking, over the decades of programming thinking. You know, man, I can't afford to live internationally. Guys, the United States is one of the most expensive countries in the world. And racism makes it even more expensive, because the reason we don't have universal health care is because of racism, because the government didn't want Black people to have quality health care. That's it. That's the only reason. So when you're thinking that you can't afford to live in other places. Again, guys, let's start being sovereign. Sovereignty means that you listen to different ideas, you listen to you observe what's going on, but then you make your own decision based on your values and what you hold near and dear to your heart. And that requires you to think. When people ask you for your opinion on something, you may not have an opinion on it yet. Tell them, let me get back to you on that. How many times do you guys do that? When somebody asks you something and you don't want to, it happens to me, it happens to all of us, where we want to be viewed a certain way. And instead of saying, well, you know what, I'm not really clear on how I feel about that, let me get back to you. That's an intelligent way to give yourself more time to think about what you're being asked, instead of repeating something automatically that you have in your tape recorder in your brain. That's not sovereign thinking. Sovereign thinking is taking time to address what you're being asked, okay? All right. So a furnished quality apartment here in Playa del Carmen runs between $800 and $1,200 a month, depending on what you want. The local grocery stores are excellent. You have choice of really fresh quality foods and meats. I think I told you guys before, I don't really eat a lot of meat. I try to be mostly vegetables and a little bit of seafood, but man, the chicken here is slamming. I just had some for lunch. I try to limit my intake, but man, the food is somewhat, it's just fresher, guys. We know what's going on in the United States with our food supply, right? So, you have access to all this, okay? And then the healthcare, oh gosh, guys, let me break this down to you. So a lot of people here, like I'm starting to meet Canadians, I'm meeting Europeans. Obviously, I've been meeting the Black community here big time. But when you talk to different people, you will be shocked, guys, that a lot of people who are in their 50s and 60s here, that they're either snowbirds from Canada or they actually live here, they have residencies here, they don't pay for insurance because it's so cheap to pay out of pocket here. This lady, oh man, she had an accident on a scooter. No, I'm getting it mixed up. Okay. There's a guy here named Rope Monster. He's on YouTube. That's the name of his channel, Rope, ROPE Monster. He does a fabulous job of breaking down life in Playa del Carmen and the cost of things and whatnot. So he got into an accident. He was riding his bike and I think he got run off the road and he severely twisted his ankle. I think he had some ligament damage. He kind of jacked up his shoulder. He had some facial lacerations. This dude, our Caucasian brother, goes to the doctor. I believe he got an X-ray, MRI. He got a shoulder checked out. They gave him, the stuff to disinfect the lacerations or and then patched him up, sent him on his way. Guys, it was $125. MRI, X-ray, checked out, face cleaned up, $125 out of his pocket. Another lady that lived in Belize for 7 years, she lives here now. She said, don't buy health insurance. I said, it's $160 a month for private healthcare insurance. It's a great package. $160 a month. She said, no, you don't need to do that. She said, you're healthy. If you're healthy and you don't have pre-existing conditions, go to the doctor as needed or go for a checkup or whatever, but don't pay for insurance because you're going to waste your money. And I thought, wow, what a way to think about that, right? Because guys, let me preface something to you. If you're in a country that's not trying to kill you or keep you sick, then you don't have the fear of not having that supposed security, right? We've been sold a bill of goods that having health insurance is security. No, it's not. Because you guys know that if you have anything over a routine checkup or something like that, even when you have insurance, you're still paying out of the pocket. So from a money standpoint, these different places in the world, guys, make a lot of sense, right? So I just gave you healthcare, right? A doctor's visit runs between 20 and 40 bucks. No insurance hoops, no billing department. You walk in, you're seen, and you're out. How refreshing would that be, guys? Put in the comments what you think about that. How does that make you feel when I say there's a false sense of security in the United States with health insurance? Because here's the, not dichotomy, that might be the word, but here's the rub. You have a nation in the United States as a for-profit health care insurance system. And the healthcare insurance system with the pharmaceutical system, with the food system, they all work in tandem to keep each other paid. So when the pharmaceutical system is poisoning you, the food system is poisoning you to push you to the healthcare, and then the healthcare system pushes you back to big pharma to keep you medicated. Then big pharma wants to, they keep you medicated. And then over here on the food side, you're addicted to food. So it's a wicked system, guys, in the United States that doesn't exist in a lot of other areas around the world. Okay. So a lot of times, guys, you can find people here in Mexico, and Playa del Carmen is one of the most expensive areas in Latin America. I'm going to say that again. Where I live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, Playa del Carmen is more expensive than Mexico City. And Mexico City is a world-class international city, second or third in population in the world. Mexico City is huge, 22 million people. Playa del Carmen is more expensive than Mexico City. So here in Playa, you can find people who are living off their retirement pension or Social Security. Total monthly living, rent, food, transportation, food, phone, entertainment can be comfortably done under $2,000 per month. Now, that's for a single person. So that's assuming a one-bedroom or a studio apartment. So you look at a one-bedroom or a studio apartment. You look at your food costs, transportation, phone, entertainment. $2,000, guys. Now, you really have to be in a rural situation in the United States to find a place that you could live comfortably for $2,000. You might have an RV that you're living out of or something, but a normal, regular, mid to low size city, if you're trying to live there, it's very hard to find a place that you can live comfortably for $2,000 a month, covering everything. And Playa del Carmen is not the only place that can do that. You can do that in a lot of different countries in Central and Latin America and Southeast Asia and Africa. Okay? This is possible. So, a lot of you brothers, man, y'all sitting on $1,800 to $2,500 a month in retirement income. And you've been stressing, thinking about, man, how am I going to pay my bills and take care of my lifestyle as I get older, man? I'm thinking I don't have enough. You may not have enough to stay in the United States, but you have plenty to go somewhere else. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. Okay. So, let me read this off to you. The question isn't just, can you afford to go? The real question is, can you afford to stay? That's the real question. What is it costing you to stay? Stress, high blood pressure, a nervous system that's on fire every time you watch the news, right? The constant weight of navigating the country that has never, not once, fully decided that you belong there. Not once. I'm not talking about the window dressing. I'm not talking about the rhetoric of the politicians. I'm talking about actually feeling like you're a full citizen in the country that you were born in. Because I don't. I never did. So the cost doesn't show up in your bank account necessarily, but it's real and it's expensive. Okay? Guys, all of us have more, we've lived more days than we have left. And I don't know about you, I made the decision that I didn't want to be around racist devils in my golden years. I didn't work this hard and accumulate my assets and my nest egg. I didn't work this hard to be around people who view me the way that some people view us in America. I'm not doing it because I'm going to take a bat upside someone's head. I'm going to be in one of those videos beating the dude to an inch of his life. That was going to be me if I stayed in the United States. I'm an extremely aggressive man when I feel slighted or disrespected. I'm the coolest dude, one of the most loyal friends that you'll ever have. I'm cool with anybody that's got good energy. But if you disrespect me and I think, and I don't, I sense a slight from you or I sense disrespect, and then you come out of your mouth sideways, like that flight attendant did, he was protected by federal law, but I was going to stomp his ass out for 400 years of oppression. That's how I view them. Every time I see a racist white person and they come at me sideways, I got 400 years of frustration, oppression, grape, unalivings running through my blood, ready to take action on you. That's where I had gotten before I left the United States. I hope you guys don't get to that point because something bad can happen, and I don't want that for any of you, okay? All right, number 3. Now, man, I've got a great story on this, guys. Brotherhood abroad. So I've got a guy who I've really grown to really like and care about. His name is Haji. And Haji had been here. He's a retired military guy. Now, I've mentioned him on the show before. Haji has been around the world. He's lived in Thailand. He's lived in Uganda. He didn't live in Dominican Republic. He went there a couple months, but he just went to Argentina. And hey, just like being brainwashed, right? Because I'm a history buff. I read the history of Argentina and what they did to their black population, which is why they don't really have a black population right now. They have a small group of people, but it's not, they used to be, I believe at one point, Argentina had over 50% black people. Today, that number might be less than 1%. But Haji went down to Argentina because he likes his military pension to really go a long way. I didn't get into specifics about how much he has, but he was living comfortably here in Playa del Carmen. So he gets down to Argentina. But the thing he told me, he said, Bardo, I'm going down to Argentina. I said, man, why the hell would you do that? I said, those racist people down there, are you kidding me? So Haji gets down there, and he's been down there now for a few days. And fellas, he said something that really opened my eyes. He said, Brother Bardo, he says, sometimes we have to realize that as black men, we're bringing our trauma from the United States to these different countries. And inside of that trauma, we get these narratives about these countries, but yet we've never been to them. We've never really grabbed an Argentinian and sat them down and talked to them. We've not researched online the perspective of racism from an Argentinian perspective. I've seen a number of YouTube creators that have gone to Argentina and have had issues. And one in particular, Lord Williamson, who I love, young brother. He does a fantastic job on his YouTube channel, Lord, Lord. He was showing him and this other brother were in Argentina. They were going to a soccer match. They couldn't get into the soccer match, so they were going to go to a bar around the thing just to give the ambiance. It was great ambiance. People were cheering, having a great time, loving it. Him and his friend, they had a great time. They're leaving. They walked past a group of, it looked like about 10 or 12 dudes, Argentinian cats. And so they're asking, they see that Lord is filming. So they're starting to talk to him, interact with him. And they're like, hey, man, come on with us. Come on with us. And Lord and his buddy's like, nah, we're good. We got to go somewhere. They kept walking. And these dudes start calling them niggas and calling them itches and put a B in front of it. Right. And so Lord turns around and looks. And then he asked his boy, he said, and they kept walking. He kept filming. He said, man, how you feel about that? And the young brother came up. The young brother said, you know what, Lord, we're balling. Like we're living our lives. These cats are here. He said, so, it doesn't really bother me, which is BS. I don't care what any brother says, unless he's not conscious. Someone calling you out of your name like that, and they know that it's a derogatory term. It bothers it out of me. It bothers me. Okay. I was very impressed with these young men and how they carry themselves. Now, so that's another data point that I have about Argentina. Haji gets down there and he's like, Bardo, our trauma has informed us about places that are anti-Black, but I'm not seeing that down there. I said, okay. I said, now, Haji, be careful, because I've been told that Argentinians, and that example that I gave you about Lord, they act similar to our Caucasian brothers in the United States sometimes who are racist. They wait till they think they've got you outnumbered to where they can overpower you, and then you're in trouble. And that's that situation that Lord and his buddy went through. If 2 or 3 of those dudes were sitting there, they wouldn't be calling them niggers. They wouldn't be calling them itches. But it was 10 or 12 of them against 2 brothers. And so those are the data points. But Haji's saying, Stephen, I want you to consider starting to challenge your beliefs when you go to these other places. Okay? And so I want to share that point, because thank you, Haji, because you got my wheels spinning there a little bit, because I came down here to Mexico with some of that. And now I'm starting to release that. I'm starting to really challenge myself in the way that I think. Okay. So you guys, if this is your first time here, again, I'm point guard Stephen Bardo. I live here in Playa del Carmen. I'm a former professional basketball player, played in Dallas Mavericks, Detroit Pistons, and San Antonio Spurs of the NBA, played in Italy, Spain, France, Germany, Venezuela, and Japan overseas. And so I've got a background of living outside the United States. And next chapter forward, this company is all about assisting Black men over 50 who want to relocate out of the United States. Okay. Now, for those of the gentlemen that are in the newsletter and in the next chapter forward universe, they know that I'm a part of a very active and vibrant Black men's group here in Playa del Carmen. I'm actually running it now. The brother that founded it, Kareem, moved to Merida, which is about 3 hours away. And ironically, he'll be back next week just to visit. But I've kind of taken over the role of leading that group. And it's a group of about 40 brothers here in Playa del Carmen. And we meet once a week for dinner. Now, I share that with you guys because this is just one group. Okay. You could go to Panama, Colombia, Costa Rica, even. Obviously Portugal, because Portugal's an OG in terms of Black people relocating. It's one of the first countries that a lot of Black people went to, was Portugal, because it was far less expensive than it is now. And in all these areas, there are Black groups that meet. If you guys disagree with me, or you're skeptical about what I'm saying, go to Facebook groups, type in Ghana. You'll see a Black group in Ghana. Type in Thailand, type in Malaysia, type in Philippines. All these places have Black groups, guys. So if you think that you're going to leave the United States and that you're not going to find other Black Americans where you are, I think you're mistaken. Because in almost every place that I've looked at, so for example, Tulum, which was really popping around COVID, a lot of digital nomads, a lot of Black people went down to Tulum, to the point where Tulum has been called the Atlanta of Mexico. That's not hype. That's black men and women who moved down there, built lives, built businesses, built social networks, and created a scene. That's 45 minutes south of me. And that group is totally, the black men's group down there is totally different than the one here. And we're 45 minutes away. Okay. Let me read something else to you. In Playa, in Mexico City, in Lisbon, Spain, in Accra, Ghana, in Medellin, Colombia, there are Black American expat communities that are thriving. There are men who worked 20, 25, 30 years and made the call to stop surviving and start living, guys. When are you going to make that call? Put in the comments what countries you guys are interested in. I'd really be curious to see what you say. Because when I finish with this, I'm going to take your questions. Okay. So, here in Mexico, they see my blackness. I'm 6'6", so I stand out a little bit more. But they see me as American first, and they're curious. They want to talk, right? They want to know my story. And the respect that they show me is something that I just didn't get on a consistent basis back home. And so, you're looking at a man in me, yours truly, who, guys, I may have had the best job that a man could want. I was paid handsomely to call college basketball and NBA basketball games. I was a color commentator. So I got paid well to put a suit and tie on, be on national television, smile and cheese and all that stuff, and spit rhymes on the mic. And I left all of that because I couldn't take America anymore. I couldn't take it. And I'm choosing sovereignty as opposed to chasing this illusion of safety that we equate with a salary, right? We equate safety with a consistent salary. But what does that consistent salary cost? Well, let me give you an example. So during basketball season, you guys know that that's during the wintertime. And the Big Ten Conference, where I did a lot of my college games, the Big Ten Conference is in the northern region of the United States. Okay, there are some USC and UCLA located in Los Angeles that are not necessarily in cold weather climates, but pretty much every other school faces winter deal, right? And so for the last 25 years, guys, I've been driving through ice and snowstorms. I leave a game in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'm driving back home to Chicago. That's a 4-hour drive. That's a 3.5, 4-hour drive at 1 a.m. Okay. I had a dear friend, Howard Moore. He and his wife, his daughter, and his son were driving in Michigan at like 1:30 a.m. And a car crosses over their lane and hits them head on. His wife and his daughter die. He's a quadriplegic now. Can't speak. His son was unscathed, and Andre he's probably 19 or 20 by now. But, when you're on the road in the upper Midwest or the upper East Coast or whatnot, it can be treacherous, guys. And I was always worn out at the end of the year. Now, I signed up for that. But there's a cost to that salary, okay? And I want you to understand that. So let me get back to this point. When you guys, if you take the challenge to relocate, some of you will be in tears, and these will be tears of joy. Because I remember one of the first few times I got to the beach here in Playa, and I didn't have to budget my time that I was going to spend at the beach because I didn't have to be at a job. And I had tears rolling down my face. Now, part of it might have been because I was tipsy, because I had some Indio beer and I had some green. I dabble with the lettuce every now and then. So that might have been part of it, but I think it was some of the emotions that we tamp down, that we compartmentalize with just our daily living in the United States. I want that for you guys. I want you to be in a studio, a penthouse studio with a private pool on top, where you're in the pool and you can see the Caribbean Ocean, like I did for the first 5 months that I lived here. I want that for you guys. We're kings, gentlemen. Flat out. We're the coldest people on the planet. It's not even close. That's why they work so damn hard to keep us oppressed. Guys, do you understand that everything about our existence is anti-Black? The education that we received, the billboards that you see when you're driving past, the treatment from law enforcement, the treatment in the medical industry. Henrietta Lacks. You all recognize that name? Henrietta Lacks. Harvard Medical School took her cells and created, like, I don't know what, I think it was 55 remedies for different diseases without her knowledge, without the family's knowledge. And some pharmaceutical companies made billions. That's one example, guys. I'm not talking about Tulsa Massacre or Rosewood or East St. Louis or Durham, North Carolina, or Stockton, California, or Bend, Oregon. These are all places with thriving Black communities in the late 1800s and early 1900s that white mobs came and burned, killed, raped women and children. So not only were these cash flowing businesses, not only did these Black people have property, right? All that's gone. No reparations for any of it. And the system that is the United States tries their damnedest to not make that information widely available. Okay? Everything about our lives, guys, in the United States is anti-Black. I know some people would disagree with me on that. Some people, I've been in a nice discussion with this brother on TikTok, and he's got this company that he's developed. I believe it's something shares. I can't quite remember the name. And I was trying to encourage him, but what I said, and I'm just being honest, this is straight up. I said, brother, unless you got a military that are going to protect Black people, you can do all this planning that you want to. Unless you're talking about going to another country, you're going to take a portion or some Black people from the United States and go to another country. That's possible. Trying to build something that's Black, that benefits Black people inside the United States, you can do it for a while. But history dictates, history has shown me in the United States that anything substantial where Black development is, it will get attacked. It will either get attacked from a policy, law situation. It will get attacked from a financial situation, or it could be outright attacked by people who are jealous, who don't want to see Black people have anything. That's our reality. Okay? All right. So I said 15 minutes, guys. I was going to try to do this 15 minutes, but I get hyped talking to y'all, man. This stuff gets me hyped. And obviously you guys are hyped because of all these questions. So let me go over here and get to these questions. But thank you, gentlemen, for chiming in. I really appreciate it. Oh, okay. Oh, so you saw that when you were there? Playa del Carmen has a golf course by the sea. I enjoy playing golf when I actually do it, but I don't like, I had my clubs in Chicago and I'd go play in these celebrity golf tournaments and whatnot, but I didn't play consistently. But I didn't know that they had a golf course right on the ocean. That's pretty dope. Let's see. What's up, AJ Lewis? Thanks for tuning in again, bro. I appreciate your support. A lot of professional men cannot be honest with themselves and say what you just say. So I congratulate your honesty, and thank you. Thank you, AJ. Look, guys, I'm a point guard. Point guards come through the fire first. We're the ones that break down the door first. We take the bullets first. Okay. So I know that there'll be non-black people watching this and it'll make them cringe. I don't give a damn. I wasn't, I feel like I feel like I'm a political asylum seeker. I left my home country because I'm not a full citizen there. I'm not respected there. There are government policies that are written for our demise. Who the hell wants to do that? Who wants to live there? So AJ, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Okay, I think it's about 420,000 now, friend zone. You may be right. I was told by a realtor that it's 420,000 people and growing quickly. So I don't know. You may be right, but we're still in the same ballpark. That's about the size of Baltimore and St. Louis as well. Around between 3 and 500,000 people, I believe. Okay. Charles D. Preach, brother, preach. The quality of life in the United States is lower than in many other countries. Guys, it's a fact. And look, don't get me wrong, man. The United States has some great qualities about it. It's my home country. It affords us opportunities, more opportunities than you'll find in a lot of different countries around the world. But there's a cost to that opportunity. Okay. And those opportunities that are afforded its citizens are tiered to a certain extent. Oh man, I'm trying to remember this song that was said, and it talked about the color. If you're white, you're all right. If you're whatever, if you're white, you're all right. If you're brown, stick around. Man, I'm butchering this thing. I wish I could remember that. If you guys remember that, please put it in the comments because I'd like to get that right because I think it's kind of what I'm talking about. But I don't want to seem like I'm crapping on the United States all the time. I'm not doing that. What I'm trying to do is point certain things out to you that other people probably aren't pointing out to you. That's all. Okay. The point guard in basketball is the leader on the floor. It's the coach on the floor. I'm simply trying to show you how you're being defended. And I'm trying to put you in a position of advantage so that you can score more often than you get stopped. Okay? All right. Keonda Way. What's up, Stephen Paul? How you doing, man? Y'all, this is my oldest son, Stephen Paul, a successful hip-hop artist and musician. He's based in Puerto Rico, and he can flow in Portuguese, Spanish, or English in the same cut. The boy is dope. Bardo-san is his name. Go check him out. The man is dope. I shouldn't say boy because he's a grown-ass man. He's taller than I am. Good to see you, Stephen Paul. Love you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Boy, y'all coming with some stuff right now. All prejudices are based on the desire to hoard resources. Wow. I've never heard that. What do you guys think about that? That's a pretty profound statement. All prejudices are based on the desire to hoard resources. So, friend zone, let me ask you something. Do you think that Africans develop prejudices? Yeah, well, they would because they've been typically historically, a lot of African countries and a lot of African people have been denied resources. So that would hold up there as well. Good, great statement, friend zone. I got to think about that for a while, but I'm not hearing anybody say that, but that's pretty good. Bardo-san, Argentina's soccer players, fans definitely aren't doing much to help clean that racist reputation. Gianluca Prestiani, as of a week or so ago, was he the player over in Europe, Stephen, that called the brother, what do you call him, a monkey or a nigger or something like that? I saw that clip where he this guy, Gianluca, I think, was it a Premier League match, Stephen Paul? Or was it one of the cup matches in Europe? But the guy went like this. And all of a sudden, the brother went crazy. He ran right over to the referee, told the referee what the dude said. So great point, Stephen Paul. And there's something about football, soccer, that brings out the racist fervor. I don't know if you guys saw the African qualifying tournament, the football, if you saw the highlights and you saw what was going on and the blatant racism that the people in Morocco, some of the other countries that were playing these sub-Saharan African countries, some of these Arab African countries were really showing a ton of disrespect. Making monkey sounds and throwing bananas and I think that there's a certain energy that those football, soccer matches draw. So, and it puts a bad light in my eyes on the rest of that country. But great, thank you, Stephen Paul, for sharing that. That's very poignant for this conversation. So, thank you. I applaud you for being honest about this. Many professional men our age cannot acknowledge what you just said, and I feel what you're saying, guys. There's a certain freedom in being a sovereign black man when you leave the United States. I don't want anything from anybody except love and support from my family and friends. I don't need. I'm not looking for a paycheck from NBC Sports, Big Ten Network, and Fox Sports like I had been. I don't need that. I'm not looking for that. I'm not beholden. A lot of us would like to say what we want, but we know we can't for fear of retaliation from either our bosses or something we said online that a coworker can go back and share with a superior that can get us in hot water. It's just not worth it. But that's why I'm here. That's what Next Chapter Forward, that's what being a sovereign black man is all about. Charles, y'all cooking today. Jesus was and still is disrespected by anyone that can face disrespect. What truly matters isn't what is done to you, it's how you choose to respond. Charles, I'm weak at that. You're spot on with that. I'm weak, but I'm improving in that area. Just like I gave you guys the example of Lord Williamson and his brother, his black friend, and they were walking in Argentina and they were called nigger and they're called itches, but they were smart because had they gone back and fought, they might have left their lives in Argentina. There was about 10 or 12 dudes in that group that started talking crap to them. So you're spot on. And that's something that I'm getting better at. I'm nowhere near where I need to be because the Creator has protected me so many times when my anger has gotten out of control. I can't tell you. I know that my family's praying for me because I wouldn't have made it out of certain situations had they not. So thank you for sharing that. Cool Breeze, Puerto Plata. Okay, this is Dominican Republic in the house. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Well, man, AJ, this is a good point because, guys, here's the thing. A lot of times you'll find people in these different countries and they're running from something. They're not necessarily, because I was running from something. I was running from racist behavior because I've been fed up with it. So I would say in my experience here in Mexico, of the black expats that I've met down here, and then, you'll get around some people at a function or something, and you'll be like, man, that cat is weird. Or that sister's different. What's up with her? Oftentimes you'll get a backstory, people who know them, and they'll share a backstory with you in terms of coming away from a divorce, or I know one sister She maxed out her credit cards, got all the money, and she was developing an online business, but she maxed out her credit cards to take cash advances and bounced because she just fed up with the United States. And so you'll find people in a lot of these situations, they're running from something, right? I was running to freedom. I like to think that I'm fairly well adjusted. I wasn't when I first got here, but I am now. Okay. So it is a double-edged sword. And what Haji, my main man, who's now down in Argentina, taught me a lesson in what AJ is talking about. Sometimes we have to check our racial trauma when we come to another country to give those people an honest shake. And that's who we are as Black people, as copper-colored people, the original indigenous people of the United States. We're righteous people. Righteous people give people the benefit of the doubt when you first meet them. I hadn't been doing that. And so Haji challenged me on that. Those are the type of friends I want. Check me when I'm wrong, or when you think I'm wrong, or when you think I can improve in an area. Please check me, because I want to be the best I can be. So AJ's spot on with this. Uh-oh. Deshaun Hall, Costa Rica and the DR. All right. AJ Lewis is in Panama. Okay. I'll just say O is moving to Bangkok or Pattaya. Oh, I'm so jealous. Thailand come this October. I can't wait to get out of the Matrix. Bro, listen. Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know your scenario, whether you're bringing a family, you know, if you're dating, if you're married or you got a significant other. If you don't, brother, Pattaya, Bangkok too. But I've heard the further south you go in Thailand, the darker the people are. And there are Black Thais, there are Black Cambodians, there are Black Vietnamese, there are Black Filipinos. And so, Haji, Mike, Kareem, all the brothers that are in the group here in Playa, those brothers have lived in those regions of the world. And man, you're going to enjoy yourself. And your money's going to go a hell of a lot farther there than it will in the United States. Charles, I agree with that because, and I'm going to get graphic here because, I'm amongst brothers. I can say this. There's a young brother who's fiery, real strong, fiery young brother, right? And he references Frances Cress Welsing's work. For those that are unfamiliar, God rest the Queen's soul, because she was one of our leaders. And she would be matter of fact with her findings and historical research. This brother took from her and said that I can annihilate that group of people that's inside my testicles. What he's referring to is Frances Cress Welsing saying that when Europeans first left Europe and started going around the world, 90% of the artifacts and the architecture they found, history, was African. All over the world, everywhere they went, they saw African artifacts, people, culture, history. So when these explorers, is the title that they were given, I call them pirates, grapists. You know what I mean when I say grape? Okay, grapists. What happens is they would grape the local women, and some of them would become pregnant. And so what these European pirates were finding was that if they go and around an African originated woman, like the Public Enemy song says, black man, black woman, black baby. White man, black woman, black baby. White woman, black man, black baby. You see what I'm getting at, guys? They know the truth. We don't really know the truth. I'm starting to, but the majority of us really don't know how powerful we are. They do. And what Charles is saying here, it's designed this way, guys, because there is no level playing field. And they talk about, earn your way. That's garbage. They didn't earn nothing. They take everything. They don't invent shit. They don't. They take everything. Okay. So just understand that's the environment that you find yourself in. Is one that they walk around and look at you, black man, and they know you can take them out without lifting up a single weapon. They know that a lot of their women desire you. They know that every area that you've been allowed to participate in, you dominate. Music, fashion, culture, sports, business, right? David Stewart is the richest brother in the country. He did something. I think he acquired another company or something. This brother's worth $10 billion. Most of you probably don't even know who David Stewart is, do you? Brother has built up a software company. The other brother that gets a lot more credit because he paid off Smith. What's Smith's first name? Help me, fellas. Let's call him Mr. Smith. He paid off the student loan debt for the Morehouse graduating class that he came and gave the keynote to. And boy, and you know what happened as a result, guys? When he was trying to give these young brothers some freedom. Do you know what happened? He got investigated by the government about some deal that he did. He got fined $130 million. Y'all didn't hear about that, did you? Smith. What is that cat's name? What's his first name? Look up Black Billionaire Smith. Look up the fine that he got. And they said it was because of some shady business. No, it was because he freed a bunch of black men from financial slavery. So all these systems, guys, that we tamp down in our minds because we've got to survive and we've got to provide for our families. We've got to go out and make this money and do all these things that are required to do in America. But all this stuff is not for us, okay? The North Coast of the Dominican is a great start to visit and get a feel for the country. Hey, man, I was up there. in second week of January. I went up to what's right next to Las Ter. Man, I gotta stop drinking, y'all. I mean, I'm not drinking right now, but last night I had a few and it's affecting my memory recall. I just went up there. It'll come to me in a minute. I went up there and checked it out. It's where the black people relocated to in the 1800s. Samana. Oh my gosh. Whew. I thought my friend said, brother, you just getting old. But no, Samana. I've been to Samana. And the North Coast is nice. That's very nice. Puerto Plata, where you're located. Sosua. I hear they're trying to clean Sosua up, but that's a pay-for-play area. Big time pay-for-play area. They're trying to clean that up. But I love the Dominican. I love my time there. Dominican might be in my future. Okay. Normalize dysfunction and stress. Henrietta Lacks. Yes. Cool breeze. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. We need to say that. We need to start doing that again. My dad used to teach me something. Give me 5 on the black hand side. In the hole. You got soul, brother. You got soul. I was like 3 or 4 years old. I used to do that every time I saw him. And we slap hands and he'd do this. I put my finger in the hole. You got soul, man. You got soul. My parents were brilliant. They brainwashed the heck out of me on black brilliance. So say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. That's right. That's right. Yeah, friend zone. I'm a trained journalist, broadcaster. I don't really, I don't really go on a public forum like this and say things without having enough research to be kind of comfortable about what I'm saying. And there's so much stuff that's happening in the history of the United States that a lot of us don't know about because it's suppressed. Um, so go look up what happened in the Red Summer. I don't know specifically what you're talking about. I think you're referring to probably, what was it, the 10 or 15 black municipalities that were bombed and firebombed and killed. I think that's what you're referring to. My oldest son, Stephen Paul, who's on this right now, he can attest to this. Black men in the U.S., one of the first lessons you learn when you reach school age is how to stay out of jail, avoid being hurt or killed by people of your own race or because of racism. My mom and dad sat me down and talked to me about the police. And it's very confusing as a kid when you're hearing the majority narrative over here. You're hearing what everybody else is saying, but then your parents are telling you something different. Okay. And so as a kid, I was always like, man, like I know my parents, I know they love me, they want the best for me, but do they even know what they're talking about? Boy, did they. Did they? So we've all had those discussions. Hopefully we've all had those discussions, because if you send a black boy out into the world and you don't properly prepare him, there's so many traps laid in our pathway. I had no idea how hard my mom and dad worked to keep me and my brother and sister safe and loved. Notice how I said safe and loved. They knew that we'd go out in the world and people would take shots at us, call us nigger. Teachers that would subconsciously deal with you differently than they would other students. I can't tell you how many times my parents had to come up to school to talk to the teachers. And my dad, you don't want to be in a verbal discussion with my father. He's a college professor. Brother's brilliant. You don't want to be going word for word for him, because you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And time again, they would see a pattern, and we'd bring homework home, or we'd bring test results home, and they'd look at it like, wait a minute. Especially essays, stuff that we had to write out. Oh, my dad used to clown teachers on this stuff. But if you send a black boy out into the world ill-equipped in the United States, if they can navigate through that on their own without proper instruction and love, they're miracles, because that system is designed to eat us up. Okay, Greg Elmore, talk about your position on meat eating. Our bodies are designed to be herbivores. Our bodies aren't designed to eat meat. Our teeth, they're more for reducing fruit and roughage, like lettuce, spinach. Our teeth are they're rounded. They're not sharp like canines or animals that are carnivores. Their teeth are different because digestion starts in the mouth. It doesn't start when the food hits your gut. It starts in the saliva activates certain things in your mouth. And so if we don't have the teeth to properly chew food, what do you think that does to our system? Meat rots in our bodies, guys. That's what meat does. It rots. You're eating a dead animal. You're not eating life. You're eating death when you eat meat. And so, Greg, I'm a lifelong athlete. I'm always striving to be better and try to be in every area of my life. I knew that if I was ever going to be a sovereign black man, I can't eat like Europeans eat. That's not our way. That's not our history. So if you go back in history for copper-colored indigenous people of the United States, they would eat seafood every now and then, but a majority of our diets were greens, legumes, fruits, vegetables, fish every now and then, right? In harsher weathers, they would kill bison for the food, for the coats to make proper apparel from. But the Creator didn't make our bodies to eat animals. The Creator made our bodies to eat fruits and vegetables. So that's why I do it. Tony Gonzalez, the former NFL tight end great. My memory call is not good today. I've read several books. I've looked at probably 10 different food documentaries, and I just like now I killed that chicken today for lunch because it was steaks, ribs, burgers, chicken. I like meat just like everybody. I love the taste of it. It's comforting going down, but it's just not good for us. And I'm 6'6". I haven't weighed myself in a while. And my buddy said I lost weight, but I think the weight is from the inflammation that the food causes in the United States. The food in other places around the world, it doesn't create as much inflammation in the body as the food does in the United States. So I'm always trying to be optimal, Greg, and that's my perspective on meat eating. I don't think it's healthy, especially as we age. Food is supposed to, when we intake something like that, we're supposed to break it down properly in our mouths. It comes down our esophagus into our gut, and it's supposed to give us the energy. If it's like lettuce, it's supposed to like give us roughage, so it cleans out our large and small intestines, and it's supposed to give you energy. And then the waste is supposed to come out. It's not supposed to result in a bowling ball belly or hips that look like a voluptuous woman. Men aren't supposed to look like that. And we say, oh, we big boned and all this, that, yeah, but it's all choices. There are no guys. Did you know there are very few diseases that are hereditary based? Did you guys know that? People think, oh man, diabetes is hereditary. No, it's not. It's 100% food choices. High blood pressure, hypertension, 100% food choices. That doesn't run in your family. That's all food choices based on everybody's individual body chemistry is different, obviously. But food, the meat, the cognac, the cakes, too much pasta and breads, that stuff, it's just not good for you. It's not good for you. Thank you for that question, though. Appreciate you tuning in, Greg. Okay, my experience is unique to me. I respect what you say. The U.S. is TI black. What is that? In my opinion, is a sweeping statement. Expound on that a little bit for me, would you? Oh, okay, Stephen Paul, thank you, man. Yep, that's what he called him. He called Vinny Jr. Mono, which is monkey, after Vinny scored a goal in the Champions League. Okay, it was a Champions League. Okay. Thank you, Steve Paul, for that clarification. Friend zone. I remember this. Bakari Henderson was killed in Greece by Serbians outside of a bar. Why? For taking a picture with a waitress. The Serbians were found innocent in court. Sound familiar? Sounds a little bit familiar about like that brother that was found in Gwinnett County, Georgia, in suburban Atlanta, hung. And they automatically ruled it as suicide. Or the brother in Brookfield, Wisconsin, or the brother in Mississippi. Yeah, that's our reality, guys. That's our reality. Thank you, Manny. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Good to see you. And now, Deshaun's. Preach, brother. It's a challenge to turn it off. Identifying racism is a survival tactic in America. I couldn't say any better. Now, with that being said, Deshaun, we as these supreme beings, we have the ability, we code switch all the time. We code switch in the States all the time. We code switch at work all the time. We can code switch when we come out, when we leave the United States. I'm not saying it's easy because it hasn't been easy for me either. But I'm going to challenge myself to be better at it because I found myself last night at a freaking musical bingo at this place called San Lucho on Fifth Avenue here in Playa. And it's a fun place. You know, it's live music. Sometimes they'll do karaoke, but this particular night, it's a group of Canadian people, and they have this musical bingo, and I got pulled into it, and it was fun. And I'm sitting here talking to these people. I'm getting to know them. They get to know me, and I had a heck of a lot in common with them. They got there were 3 Steves there last night, 3 other Stevens besides me. So we got a kick out of that. Guys are telling me what their businesses are and about their families, and they either live here, or one Steve who I really like, I got his number, him and his wife. I'll hang out with them anytime. I'd never do that in the States. I'd never went to a musical bingo night, and I'm the only brother in the spot, and had a blast. But because of Haji challenging me, I got to challenge myself. So Deshaun, we got a code switch, bro, because that was a valuable experience for me. That's going to affect me the rest of my life. Now, am I going to be naive around them? Of course not. Of course not. I didn't go into that scenario. Now, if that was all men, I wouldn't have been there at all. But a lot of them were coupled up. There were a few single women and single guys, but the majority of them were coupled up. So I can read the room. I'm a point guard. I got point guard vision. I can read the room. I'm not going to put myself in danger. I'm not the only black person in a group of 5 or more others. The only time I did that is when I was working. That's the only time I did that. I don't do that in the United States. That's a recipe for disaster for black people. Fear of a Black Planet. Yep, by PE. Thank you, friend zone. Okay. Hey, you know what? I don't know why, but I got up on Zoom to Thailand late. This dude Richie is pretty dope. I think Richie Mack was a brother that worked in the movie industry in Los Angeles for years. And then, oh boy, one of my neighbors has put her bathing suit on. I hadn't seen her in the bathing suit before. It's a good look. I see you, neighbor. Richie Mack was in the movie industry in Los Angeles, and he retired and moved to Thailand. And he's an OG in the travel game. But says, right around, I bought my duplex here in Central Florida and looking at a brother named Richie Mack. Yep. Okay. No, you're on the right track, bro. I love that cat, man. He's very entertaining. He's very knowledgeable as well. The ISIS Papers. Oh, that's it. Guys, if you haven't read the ISIS Papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, please do so. It's an illuminating read. And is spot on with this. Robert Smith is the billionaire that I was thinking about. Look up Robert Smith fine. That's all you got to do. Robert Smith fine. You'll see the story around, I believe it was 130 million that he was fined for some shady business dealing. The only shady business dealing he did was take care of the financing debt of those Morehouse graduates. And that ticked the government off because that's another form of financial slavery. So thank you for that. Vista Equities, that's his company. Yes, Robert Smith, Vista Equities. Thank you, friend zone. And it keeps me up. Thank you. It keeps me up. What keeps you up? It keeps me up. I'm just curious. That's a very unique. That's a very unique handle. Please enlighten me on that. Now, AJ hits on something that Guys, I want you to join Next Chapter Forward community, because on this public platform, I can't really talk about decentralized currencies the way I really want to, because it makes you a target. But it's something that it's a discussion that we really need to dive deep into, because believe it or not, guys, this is what we're going to be dealing with moving forward. They're resetting the financial system as we speak. And if you're not knowledgeable about those decentralized assets, you're gonna get left in the dust, and you're gonna miss out on generational wealth opportunities, because they're still there. They're still there, and I so desperately want to give you the 3 or 4 coins that I'm invested in. But join Next Chapter Forward community. Type in free throw 15 if you want a free 15-minute call with yours truly. What I do is I ask you a few questions in the first few minutes. Then we discuss your wants and needs. Then I help you identify where I think you are and next steps moving forward. So if you want to jump on a free 15-minute call with yours truly, type in the comments free throw 15, and I'll send you a link to where you can book your preferred time, and then me and you can chop it up. Okay? The younger brothers have to learn financial literacy. It is key to be able to take care of yourselves in the other places, or this just becomes dialogue. I agree. I also agree that developing online streams of revenue are going to be imperative, ladies and gentlemen. I won't be surprised if there's going to be another lockdown situation. Now, it might have already been created with what's going on in the Middle East that might find its way over to the United States. But there at some point, this cat is going to try to call martial law, because he does not want midterm elections. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I bet money that midterm elections will not take place in the United States this year. It's not going to happen. And with the ever increasing way that the United States is trying to control its citizens, financial literacy can literally mean the difference between you thriving and having the ability to go and live somewhere else, or you being stuck in the United States and possibly being forced into work. Because guys, here's the real deal. AI is coming for everyone's jobs. I'm going to say that again. If you think your job or career cannot be replaced by AI, you're mistaken. I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a little bit, just to give you something to think about. They have AI agents now that you can train. And if you give like I bought another Mac Mini. I'm using a Mac Mini right now because it's a smaller version of a Mac computer. It doesn't have quite as much storage or computing capability, but it's got more than enough than I need. I bought another Mac Mini because what you can do is you can buy a Mac Mini with its own, you get your own monitor and all that. You train the AI agents. This guy worked with his AI agent for about, I think he said 3 or 4 days, going back and forth, telling it what he likes, giving him examples of his work. This dude said, create me a business that will make me $500,000 a year. He went to sleep. He woke up. His AI agent sent him a message. These AI agents can communicate with you via WhatsApp or Telegram. This AI agent sent this dude a Telegram message in the morning. It said, I need your DNS settings. What that is, those are settings for websites and your URLs. Okay, that's all it is. It's a fancy term for something very simple. This dude gave this AI agent the DNS settings. This agent went and created a Twitter page, wrote a white paper for this company, started trading and in his first week made $3,500. In his first week, the Twitter account for this AI agent had 5,200 followers in 1 week. Okay? These AI agents can bookkeep. They can send emails. They can make calls, ladies and gentlemen. If you work with Claude AI and Claude Bot, they can make calls now. You can look all this up. I'm not making any of this up. That's why I bought another Mac Mini, because I'm not going to get left out on these transformational opportunities that we have right now in front of us. Decentralized currencies and AI. If you're not in those two areas, guys, you're going to be obsolete in, I was going to say 5 years. I'd say more like 2. I'm serious. I know this sounds like science fiction to a lot of you because you may not be familiar with it. You better get familiar with it. And I mean in a hurry. I'm trying to light a fire under your asses because this is serious. This is not, and okay, I might be wrong. It might be 4 years. Trust me on that. Okay. Because of our skin makes us look younger than we age. We make up 7/9 of the world population, and we're the first to walk the earth. So naturally, we've invented practically everything. No doubt. No doubt about it. Hey, Manny, look, man, I was up past my bedtime. I notice as I get older, guys, like if I could go out and have a few pops or beers or whatever, it's really important. I can drink, but if I get to sleep at a decent time, I'm perfect the next day. I was up a little later. That's what affected me the most. Does that affect you guys the same way? Because I love my beer. I love my beer. Yep. This is spot on. Everything but they created the patent office for them to get all the credit. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Pardon me there, fellas. Woo! One of the quotes in the history of Black people in the United States, James Baldwin: to be a Black man in America and to be relatively conscious. I'm elite level conscious. This says relatively conscious is being enraged almost all the time. There it is. There it is. And guys, you've been around brothers who aren't conscious, who think that, oh no, everything is great. Trump's just, he's just a little this, that, and a third. I know brothers that voted for Trump. And initially I would judge them. But after talking with them, it's like, wow, okay, some of these dudes are unconscious. Some of them are just, walking around in la la land. But some of them have very specific reasons why they voted for Trump. And they have very specific reasons why they support Trump. Now, they tend to overlook his racist behaviors. But, if you're a conscious Black man, if you're a sovereign Black man, and you really see what's going on and you don't like, oh, no, it's not that bad. Bullshit. Oh, I shouldn't use that. I might get flagged for that, but y'all get my drift. Okay. Anti-Black is a sweeping statement. Okay, Cool Breeze. Why is that a sweeping statement? Was I wrong about what I said earlier about the reason America doesn't have universal health care is because of racism? Is that a sweeping statement? That's a known fact. Look it up. The very reason the United States does not have universal health care is because of racism. But yet, we send $4 billion a year of our tax money to a place where they got free health care. So Yeah. Guys, here's the thing. In our history, with slavery in as the backdrop of the United States, slavery created everything in the United States. Everything. We were the first objects to be insured. They looked at us as property. So these big insurance companies that have been around for hundreds of years, they started insuring black bodies. These financial companies that gave loans to businesses, they gave loans to slave owners based on how many black bodies they had. Okay? Now, the collective wealth of Black America in the late 1800s was half of 1% of the total amount of wealth in the United States. In 2015, you know what that number was? Half of 1% in 150 years. So when you take into consideration the intelligence of Black people, the dominance that Black people have had in the areas that they've allowed us to compete in. We talked about Black Wall Street, didn't we? We talked about East St. Louis and Stockton, California, Rosewood. We talked about those, right? That's not anti-Black. The Freedmen's Bank. Cool breeze. You ever heard about the Freedmen's Bank? Y'all know about the Freedmen's Bank, don't you? Black people amassed $54 million collectively in this bank and had it stolen. Do you know what $54 million is in today's numbers? I believe that was back in the early 1900s. You know how much money was stolen from Black people? So I just gave you black towns being burned down. I gave you the statistic about our collective wealth being the exact same today as it was in Reconstruction period of the 1800s. The Reconstructive era was our greatest era that we've been in the United States as Black people. Economically, developmental wise, the Reconstruction, and guys, Reconstruction, we just came out of slavery. And in 30 years, we were whipping there were 100 Black towns and cities around the United States before they started burning them all. You're talking about 50 years? They had a 400-year start, and in 50 years, we caught and surpassed them? And so think about what Tulsa, Oklahoma would look like right now had Black Wall Street been allowed to flourish. What would East St. Louis look like right now? How about Rosewood, Florida, or Durham, North Carolina, or Bend, Oregon, or Chicago, Illinois? Chicago had a race riot as well. Okay? What would these areas look like if these Black people were able to keep their property, keep their money? That's not anti-Black. That's not anti-Black? Oh, okay. Okay. Tuskegee experiment, where they gave Black men and women syphilis without their knowledge to see how it would affect them. That's not anti-Black? Any white people had any experiments done on them like that? Categorically over what was that? I think they did over a 15, 20-year period. Forced integration into schools, that was our biggest mistake. When we desegregated, that was our biggest mistake. But desegregating schools, that wasn't, what was it? What was a young girl in Arkansas? This brave young soul, a 5 or 6 year old Black girl being escorted with guns by the National Guard for grown ass white men yelling and trying to spit at her, and grown women hating a young Black girl for going to a school. That's not anti-Black? Bro, you don't know your history, or you're not conscious. One of the two. Because I just gave you enough information right there. I can keep going if you'd like, but I want to get to all these other questions. Let's see. Bro, listen. This whole EpiPen thing, that's what I call it, EpiPen. I know I should read. I should probably try to read as much as that's available, but it just turns my stomach, guys. It turns my stomach. And everything in the Epi files, was there one black person in there? Was Barack Obama in there? Mm-mm. But yet we are supposed to support what's going on. We're supposed to be America first, and oh yeah, we're gonna go over there and take care of Iran. Oh, we're just gonna go to Venezuela and Cuba and take over those countries. You know those two countries are predominantly black, don't you? You know Venezuela and Cuba are predominantly black. But anti-black is a sweeping statement. We have an open racist running the country. Well, he's not running the country because presidents don't run the country. They're figureheads. But he's a figurehead that's running the country for the majority of U.S. citizens who are deaf, dumb, and blind. Open racist. So Trump ain't anti-black? When he fired, what was it? 300,000 black women got let go from government jobs when he first came into office last year? That's not anti-black? Come on, man. Get out of here with that mess. Oh man, let's see what he's saying here. Oh yeah, I mean, bro, America's a scam. Come on now. Bartle's son's voice can be sampled by an agent pretend to be him with some fake scenario in order to try to get money. People are been taken. Yeah, but that's America. America's scamming. The pharmaceutical companies are scamming us, guys. When did the government try to give everybody something for free for their benefit? When has that happened? I'll wait. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When has the government done something that they spent billions of dollars on, gave it away to us for free, and it was for our benefit? Yeah, okay. Shit, I got a bridge I can sell you too. Let's see. Winston Rathey, Chi-Town Catholic League in the house. All right. My expected year of relocation. What is 4 years out? Should we use a different method of communicating and planning? My expected year of relocation, what is 4 years out? So you talking about 2030? Okay. I would encourage you to move that date up, because by 2030, I'm not sure that we're going to have, I don't know that we're going to be able to move freely inside and out of the United States. If you want an example, look up the 15-minute city that's in Great Britain right now. Go look that up. 15-minute cities. It's theorized that the fires that took place in Los Angeles and in Hawaii were part of this one world agenda that the people that meet over in Davos, Switzerland every year, people that, sit there and say they control the world, but there's not an African delegate in the house. There's not a black person to be seen. They are trying to surveil us. They're trying to limit what we can do. Fellas, this stuff is, I have to be very careful because I sound crazy. I sound like a tin hat conspiracy theorist, but you know the difference, you know the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? 6 to 9 months. Y'all remember them old white cats who would get online about 20, They were online about 20 years ago. And they be talking about, oh, there's this ring of pedophiles and da da this and da da that. And the J people were doing this and doing that. And I'd be looking like, man, these cats ain't got nothing to do. They sound like Negro Damas now, don't they? Let's see. Let me get somebody else here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, in M. Namdi. What's up, M. Namdi? Thanks for showing up again, man. Take your resources out of the United States. Use the internet. Try the Caribbean. Try Mexico. Try Panama. Bahamas. M. Namdi is exactly right, guys. This is the way to develop independence. We have to be independently thinking moving forward. We cannot rely on these systems. These systems are going away. America as we know it is going away. That's why all this stuff is jumping off. In order for you to be able to make your decision and to be able to do what you want to do, you've got to first gain resources. Your first job is your first investor. Look at it like that. Your job is your first investor. They're allowing you to gain resources that will allow you to deploy it in certain places to be able to grow those resources to where now you can have freedom to do what I'm doing. Okay? Spot on there, brother. Rudy Bridges was a young girl that had to sit up there against these anti-Black people. This young girl that wants an education. Think about that, guys. You're 6 years old. And you have National Guards people with helmets, in riot gear, with guns. And she's trying to go to school. There's a lot in that scene, guys. Think about that. And y'all know why the National Guard was used, right? Because the government had to override the states in order for them to do that. That's not anti-Black? Okay. Yes. Yes. Guys, Oklahoma is one of the most important historical places in the United States for copper-colored indigenous Black Americans. We were rolling in the state of Oklahoma. Oh, we had I think this guy said there were, was it 27 or 32 Black individual incorporated areas in Oklahoma? And to Deshaun's point, multiple Black-owned oil companies. How much would that be worth today? Tulsa, Oklahoma incident happened in 1929, guys. It's 2026. Let me do the math on that. That's 97 years. 97 years of an oil company, of which we electric cars seem to be cool and they're available, but the majority of people are still using gas, guys. What kind of wealth does that look like? Do you know that Tulsa, Oklahoma had a Black airline? There were Black people flying in their own airline in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There were theaters. They had 2 hospitals. There were 3 barbershops, 2 hospitals. There was at least 1 theater. Oh, they had their own. They had their own taxi service. And I'm missing some. And obviously they had their own banks. And so, guys, can you understand that just the state of Oklahoma, the type of wealth that was stolen from them, and what that would look like if Black people were left alone in the United States, what we would be right now? But anti-Black is a sweeping statement. Okay. You see, you hit a nerve with me on that. I can't remember. Oh, the Porta Plata guy. You hit a nerve with me on that. I'm well aware of what's going on, bro. I want you to be as well. Nnamdi is preaching today, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a residency, a permanent residency, you can go work on it now. You have to not be afraid. Save and move to protect yourself by reallocating resources. Nnamdi, where are you tuning in from, bro? Because all you guys, man, tell me where you guys are tuning in from, please. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and making this discussion very lively. Because I could be here talking to myself, but I'm sharing this time with you guys. And we're at an hour 40. We are cooking today. I do know that the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, think about that, guys. The owner of the Dallas Cowboys is one of those grown white men yelling at Ruby Bridges. And he owns the Dallas Cowboys. Think about the terminology they use in sports. Draft. And so they pick and prod the prospects. How much do they weigh? How big are their testes? How many kids can they produce? How fast is their 40? How much can they lift? And we got owners, right? And you think it's a lot different, huh? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Reynolds. Can't be a nation within a nation unless you're on a reservation. Okay, now you make a great point. There's a way that we could do this, but we'd have to reclassify ourselves. And I don't know what that process looks like. And the reason that they won't necessarily allow us in mass to reclassify ourselves because they'd have to turn the land back over. There were certain treaties that were in place as the indigenous people of the land that we were. There were treaties in place that was our land. But what has the U.S. government done to every treaty they ever had with another entity? Broken it. Every treaty that the American government has ever had with the Native Americans, who were the $5 Indians, they weren't really Indians. They just went and made these claims, and the government paid them to give them incentives to get us off the books so they didn't have to give our land back. So we would reclassify ourselves as our original, as the origin of the people that we were. They would have to turn the land back over if they were honorable people. But we know we're not dealing with honorable people. But that's one way to do it. Another way to do it, and this is why I was so glad to go to this thing last night and be around these Canadian people who were schooling me to some stuff. I'm an RV dude. I love RVs. I don't own one yet, but the thought of having an RV and being able to drive around the United States and, you go visit family, or you go see some of the parks in Utah and Nevada, or you go to some of the Black RV camps in the southeastern part of the country. And I'm a big RV dude. That's that's stuff I get into. That's like a hobby of mine. So these people had an RV. They had a Class A RV, one of the big boys. I wanted a Class B, which is like a Ford Transit, but you can create you can put a bed, put a shower, all the stuff you need, right? But they had a big boy. So there's a place, guys, that is right on the border of California and Arizona, and it's in Southern California. There are 100,000 people in their RVs in this area that I believe the rent is $25 a month or something like that. But it's kind of like unincorporated land. But there are 100,000 people with RVs that live on this land. You don't think we could get 100,000 Black people that feel the same way as we do, Reynolds? That have some financial means that we couldn't go carve out some stuff? Look at some of the land that's available in the United States. Purchase a bulk of it. Now, if we were to do that, we would first need what, guys? Security. Because if people get a hold of what we're doing, oh, we can't have that. So that's the biggest thing in my opinion. It's how we are classified. And do we have enough security? Because people are going to come for us. It's the history of this country. Okay? But great point, though. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Oh, man. Come on in, Namdi. Bro, don't come to apply again and not hit me up, bro. Because you cooking with fish grease today, brother. You so hot. Hit a brother up next time you come through. My gosh, fellas. This is how much fun I have with y'all. I thought I was going to be here in 15, 20 minutes, and we're on here for an hour and 45 minutes. This has been fantastic. So go to the link in my bio. You can either get your global scouting report, which is 8 questions, 2 minutes, gives you a score, a readiness score of your readiness to relocate, or type free throw 15 in the comments. I'll send you a link and we'll get on the call and you'll get included into the next chapter for Universe that way. I want you guys to be a part of this because I love having these discussions with you guys. Like Reynolds, that's a great question. He's challenging me. That way I go back, I research it. I'll be like, Reynolds, you know what? You were right. Or no, Reynolds, check this out. Here's something we didn't consider. You guys are helping me out. Build out this universe so that I can help all of you out. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. And I thank you for your passion about the success of Black men as well. Okay? I come on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come rock with me. Guys, please like, share, and comment on this video. It really helps the growth of this channel. Plus, share with other brothers that you think that would find this content valuable. Okay? Because I want to see all of us eat. I want to see all of us win. And we have the ability to do that because you know what? We're the coldest people on the planet. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. And until next time, holla, y'all.